Hello and welcome to episode 212 of Dark and Stormy Book Club. Today we have some wonderful authors from Malice Domestic that joined us in our little conference room. Enjoy. I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
Welcome.
If you enjoy our show, please consider contributing to the Dark and Stormy Patreon. By becoming a patron, you will help us create better and quality content. There are also benefits to becoming a patron, such as exclusive content and Dark and Stormy merchandise. Become a supporter at patreon.com/darkandstormybc. Check our website for the link. We appreciate any and all contributions. Thank you.
Hello. I cannot tell you how wonderful Malice Domestic was this year. We had 4 days of just complete fun. We met new friends, we re-met old friends, and it was just a sheer joy. And today we are going to take the time allotted and we will have some pop-up interviews with some of the authors that we talked to. Now, we're not going to do a lot of editing because these were off the cuff, and we hope you enjoy some of our favorite authors.
We are here with the wonderful Ange Pompano, and we are thrilled to be able to interview him in person. What's going on, Ange?
First of all, Tracy, I'd like to say thank you to Ann, you, and to Kathy for inviting me here. It's totally unexpected, and it's a great treat, a little extra for Malice experience for me. It's very nice to be here, especially after this long hiatus that we've had, and everybody is, we've all been in the same boat. But.
Mm-hmm. So what's going on with Ange?
I wrote another book. The first book, as you know, was When It's Time for Leaving. And during the pandemic, I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit lighter, so I wrote a book called Diet of Death. It's about a guy who was tricked into writing a cooking column. The problem is he doesn't know how to cook.
Oh my goodness, what a clever idea.
But he has the hopes that if he does this column, he's going to get an investigative reporting job. And that's what he really wants. They tell him that he has to fill in for Betty Ann Green, who writes Cooking with Betty, just temporarily. So he didn't want to do it. And then his octogenarian neighbor, Mary Ticcarelli, who's based on my mother-in-law, is a very good cook. And she says, no, we'll do it. I'll help you out and everything. But she has in mind, she wants to be a detective. So she figures if he gets the job, then she's going to help him. So
nice. I like that idea. So, Ange, real quick, can you give your website to our listeners so they can learn more about you and your book?
www.angepompano.com.
Wonderful. And we've had him on the show before. If you'd like to learn more about him, you can go search through our database and hear his wonderful interview on our show. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
We are here with Raquel V. Reyes, who is nominated for Best First Novel for her book, Mango, Mambo, and Murder. Welcome, Raquel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Is this your first Malice?
This is my first Malice. I had intended to come last year. I was lucky enough to have a short story in the anthology Murder Most Theatrical. And of course I was going to come because, what an honor. And then, like everything, canceled. So this is my first Malice. And I'm so happy to be here with everyone.
What's your first impression?
Oh, I love it. It's a great group of fans. It's a great group of writers. And, it's just wonderful being back in person.
Amen. I agree with you completely. Can you give us an elevator pitch of your book?
Sure, I'll try. I have to say that I hate doing the elevator pitch. I'm so awful at it, so I will apologize to your listeners in advance. Mango Mambo and Murder takes place in Miami. It features Miriam Quinones. She is a food anthropologist who becomes a cooking show star, and she's a reluctant sleuth because bodies just keep dropping all around her, and she's going to have to solve this mystery. She has an adorable 4-year-old son. She has a passive-aggressive mother-in-law that you're going to love to hate. There is a quack herbal doctor, and also there's plenty of really good Caribbean food in there.
Very good. We interviewed all of the nominees except Raquel, but she is featured in our newsletter in the Cozy Cuisine section last month. So be sure and go back and look at that and the yummy recipe that she provided. Can you give our listeners your website so they can find you in your book?
Sure. I'm Latina Sleuths everywhere. LatinaSleuths.com, at Latina Sleuths for Twitter. Instagram is Latina Sleuths, all of that. Latina Sleuths is me, Raquel V. Reyes.
Wonderful. And we thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on the Dark and Stormy Book Club.
And enjoy the rest of Malice.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you next year, too.
Excellent.
Okay.
We would like to welcome back to the program Elaine Viets. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your latest book?
Yes, my character is Angela Richman, and Angela is a death investigator. And death investigators are a relatively new profession, and they work for the medical examiner's office. So when there's a murder or unexplained death, the death investigator goes out and he or she is in charge of the body, and the police are in charge of the rest of the scene. So Angela works in mythical Choteau County, Missouri, which is based on St. Louis County, Missouri, and it's the home of the 1%, the richest of the rich. And she's the daughter of servants. So she deals with these people, but she also tries very hard to solve the murders because she believes that the dead will talk to you and they will tell you what happened to them if you observe them carefully and you get past the, oh my God, reaction.
Yes, yeah. That's fascinating. Sounds like a profession I wish I would have went into.
Well, I took the medical legal death investigators training course at St. University in St. Louis, and I passed, but I am not certified to be a death investigator.
So you did the next best thing. You
wrote
wrote
about
right
it.
about
Right,
it.
yes.
How many times have you been to Malice?
Oh, geez. I started in 1997.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're old school.
I'm not old school, but what's really scary is I think my friends and I are now the old guard. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah. Do you think it's changed over the years? Or?
It had. When I first showed up, we got a lot of women writers who dressed up like their characters and they wore the big hats and all that sort of thing, and it was fun.
Okay.
But now we have writers who are, I'm not saying those ladies were unprofessional, but it was a different style. And now we have many more professional writers and young writers, and there's so many good books out here, and as the saying goes, so little time.
Yeah. And I love that about Malice. We've talked to a few of aspiring authors, and they are so impressed with this community and how helpful everyone is. We tell our listeners all the time, if you want to be a writer, come to Malice.
Yes.
You will get so much out of it.
The mystery community is incredibly generous. About 12 years ago, I had a series of strokes, and I was just about to go on tour, and I couldn't. So they held a tour by proxy for me across the United States. They saved my career at the expense of their own books.
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's what they're like. They are that kind.
That is amazing. Elaine, can you give our listeners your website so they can find you in your books?
Yes, it's my name, which is Elaine, and then Viets, which is Viets.
Thank you so much for coming on, and we love your books and are looking forward to the
I
next
look
one.
forward to reading this new one.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds great.
Thank you. We would like to welcome back to the program S.C. Perkins. She writes a delightful, cozy genealogy series that I absolutely adore. I've read all of them. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. So much fun to be here again.
How many times have you been to Malice?
Oh, wow. I think this is my 4th time. You know, of course, we missed during COVID, which was a bummer. So I think
it would have been like your
time.
7th.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm going to go with, right? Yeah. So technically 4th, I think.
Do you think it's changed over the 4 years?
You know, I think that it's changed for the better. I think they've done a wonderful job, and everybody is so warm. It's been run really well, and I've just been really impressed with the way that they've done things this year, and I'm just so excited to be back.
Don't you think it's a great environment for a new writer? Like it's an incubator for...
Absolutely. You meet so many people, and I was just saying to someone outside that, you know, I met some of my best writer friends through coming to Malice and another one, BoucherCon, and just getting to know these people and going to panels with them and learning so much from the panels. It really is. It's such a wonderful place for writers who are just coming up. I mean, you learn something new at every panel, no matter if you're a seasoned writer or not.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For our listeners who are not familiar with your books, can you give an elevator pitch of your series?
Yes, I write the Ancestry Detective Mystery Series featuring professional genealogist Lucy Lancaster, and they're set in Austin, Texas, and she uses her genealogy skills to help connect the dots between the murderer and her client and whatnot. And so I get to delve into a lot of genealogy and a lot of history, and I'm a big old history geek, so it's a lot of fun.
And she has a delightful cat.
Yes, yes, his name is Neil Patrick Housecatter, NPH.
Yes, I look forward to his appearances.
I love NPH. He's so much fun to write, yes.
And Stephanie has a new series coming out.
Oh,
I do. Yes, I'll be going into historicals. I'll be writing historical mysteries set in Regency, England. Yes, it's coming out next year from Minotaur Books. And the first one is titled Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Lord.
Oh, I love that. Well,
Yeah.
you know who to get in touch with when that one comes out.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been so much fun to write. It's got, you know, it's a little bit of humor and you know, a little bit of a modern heroine as much as you can be while still being very, very Regency. So it's been a blast to write.
Wonderful. Can you give our listeners your website so they can find you and your books?
Right now I have 2. So I have scperkins.com and then I have celesteconnolly.com. So I forgot to mention, I will be writing my new Regency series under a pen name. My pen name will be Celeste Connolly, which Celeste is my middle name and Connolly is a family name. And I'm doing that because there's another author named Stephanie Perkins who's very successful. She writes young adult. And so I've had a lot of trouble being confused with her. And when my publishing house said, hey, do you maybe want to try a pen name? I said, yes, please. And so that's what I'm doing. So my Regency series will be under Celeste Connolly. And so the website will be celesteconnolly.com. But I think I'm going to link them so you can go to either one and they'll redirect and probably to scperkins.com.
Wonderful,
wonderful.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the program, and we can't wait for that new book.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being here. Y'all are wonderful. Thanks so much.
We are here with Karen Neary Smithson. She is a wonderful author. We met at Malice, and we are going to just have a chat with you today and find out all about you and your books. First off, we're at this wonderful conference. Is this your first Malice, or how many Malices have you attended?
I believe I lost count. I've been probably to about 10 Malices. I started coming while I was still writing, before I was a published author, and just loved the atmosphere and meeting the authors, and found it to be a lot of fun. And then I was really excited in 2018 when I was on my first panel as a published author.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Can you elaborate a little bit about how the community is so supportive? We have heard that for many, many years, way before we came, that the mystery community